Given your presence in the roadway, I believe that this constitutes
Kirby
an
Misperton.
obstruction
I'm
to
doing
the
a Facebook
highway.
Live.
So would anybody be willing to move from the gateway?
We've got some lovely people around here, so you can see right around me here protesting against fracking in Kirby Misperton. I might try and hand this to someone else so that they can kind of do it. Would that be right? I'm going to trust this person with my phone.
As I said, I believe that this gathering constitutes an obstruction to the highway.
Might be able to turn it around there.
137 of the Highways Act. That is an offence for which you may be arrested should you remain. In light of that, would you be willing to move from the gateway?
Is it on? Brilliant, thank you very much. I really appreciate the invitation to come down here today. Thank you very much. For those who don't know me, my name is Jonathan Bartley. I'm co-leader of the Green Party. Thank you very much for the cup of tea. Really appreciate it. There's some joke in there about proper tea is theft, isn't there? But this is really proper tea. I'm really enjoying this Yorkshire tea. Thank you very much. Proper Yorkshire tea. I was just coming down on the train today thinking about what to say, and there's so much that can be said. When we were thinking about talking in the press office yesterday about coming today and what message would be important to deliver, one of the things that came up is in connection with the Paradise Papers. Some people here will know that Third Energy, the company that are trying to frack here, have their wealth located in the Cayman Islands.
Surprise.
We know that there is £8 trillion of offshore wealth distributed around the world by people who are trying to hide this wealth, keep it from us. And one of those companies is Third Energy.
Speech, but I've been asked to continue with my
I'm going to try and keep going. I've come a long way in this institution.
And if you were to be arrested as part of this, it may hinder your ability.
It is amazing that this government will subsidise the fracking industry. A fracking industry which is again trying to subsidise itself and cheat taxpayers in this country of more money by hiding its wealth offshore. And we know that the cost isn't just the subsidies that are going to the fracking companies, isn't just the subsidy that they're getting from avoiding tax abroad. It is the huge cost that will come to all of us if we do not keep fossil fuels in the ground. And I'm proud to be here as part of the Green Party supporting this protest, this peaceful protest. I've been so amazed to keep watching day after day after day the people from this community who have come down here to defend their community, to defend their land. Things that should be held in common, should be free, like water and land should belong to all of us. But it's being polluted and damaged potentially by companies like Third Energy who have come into this community who don't belong here. And I got to tell you a story. Last time I came down here a few weeks ago, I got a letter from Third Energy afterwards. And they said to me, you know what, we've been here in North Yorkshire for 20 years. So I did a little Google search, and you know what, they turned up here in 2011. It's more lies. So I've written back to them and I said, you know what, if you want to be open and transparent, they invited me to come and see one of their other gas operations. Said no. I've written back and said, I want to see this one. Give me access to this one because I want to see what's going on. This veil of secrecy has to stop. We have to know what's really going on there. What's happening with the land, what's happening with the air, what's happening locally. And that's what I'm calling for. I've got a message for Greg Clark. Greg Clark still has the power to stop this going ahead. I've got a message for Greg Clark today. Don't do it, because you know what? No one wants it. The more people see a fracking, the less they like it. This is not necessary. And indeed, when the government published its Clean Growth Plan a few weeks ago, we suddenly realised what a huge, great gap there is in their climate commitments. They cannot reach, they don't have a plan, they don't have a strategy even to get to what they've committed to through the Paris Agreement. And if they do this, it's going to make it even harder to achieve. Fossil fuels need to stay in the ground. I wrote another letter. And that was to Michael Gove. I invited Michael Gove down here. He said no. There is an environmental shaped hole in the Conservative Party, and it's called Michael Gove. They really... there are a few more. There are a few more environmental shaped holes. That is absolutely right. Yeah, when he claimed at the Tory Party conference that they were the true Green Party. So I thought I might bring him a membership application at some point. But you know, it is all talk, and there is no substance in the Conservative Party's credentials whatsoever. They may go and pay lip service to defending a few trees around the country, but they won't come down here and stop what could be make a major difference to our contribution to tackling climate change. He won't come down here, he won't do the right thing, he won't support what you are doing, he won't support the fight against climate change, and that frankly makes him an enemy of the environment, not a supporter of it. I've got another message, and that's to all
just by way of
the
update,
police here.
apologies to interrupt you again.
I've got a message for the police here. You know what? That we are fighting for you. We are fighting for your children. I know that not a lot of you don't live in the area. You come in from outside. But you know what? We want to protect this land for your children. We know that deep down inside, I don't think you believe in what companies like Third Energy are doing. Deep down inside, if you look down inside, you know that you don't really support what's going on. And so we sympathise with you what you're doing. But you know what? This is a really important fight. And what is happening here in Kirby Misperton is on the front line of the fight against fracking. This is where the battle is being played out, and that is why I'm down here supporting these people who are defending their community and defending your futures and the futures of your children. A few people have said to me already that, you know, when they know I'm coming, suddenly things seem to change and alter, and I'm going to have to go in a little while from here, but please don't leave. Please stay. Please continue to demonstrate what we are fighting for and the fight that we are all engaged in. I'll be going to Preston New Road as well. I will continue to fight, and I'll keep coming back here, and I know that the Green Party will continue to support what this community is doing, the amazing work of groups like Frack, Rydell, and everything that is going on. And you know, I am proud, and I will say this unequivocally, that I'm proud to be part of a party that will engage in non-violent direct action. We believe that some battles are too important.
Are you willing to move
and what is absolutely clear is that the government is riding roughshod over democracy. It's absolutely riding roughshod over democracy. It isn't respecting people's wishes. It isn't listening to local people. And you know, we need to make a stand.
Would you ask the police to stand down and give us some negotiation and some right to obstruction, please? They're about to force
I'm
us out of the way.
going to continue talking. I'll continue talking. But I want to continue talking to you because I so respect what you're doing. I'm just going to pick my tea up.
Save the cake!
And save the cakes that are in the wheelbarrow. You know what? I want to say a bit more about this government as well, because the government is making the wrong decisions, and the decisions that this government is making now will affect generations to come. We cannot sink £30 billion into Hinckley and have the renewable energy revolution that we need. We cannot go on supporting fossil fuels and subsidies for fossil fuels and invest in the renewable energy revolution. And this is about power, fundamentally. It's about who controls the energy, who controls our future. And we need to have that renewable energy revolution. We need control of that energy, that decentralised energy supply, not that centralised nuclear option, not the fossil fuels that are placed in the hands of energy companies who won't respect local communities. And the fact that the government has to bribe local communities, pay local communities in order to allow fracking to go ahead, I think speaks volumes. Michael Gove, Theresa May, where is your localism agenda now? Where is it? This is where it is happening on the ground, locally. People are making their voices heard. They're saying very clearly what they want for their local communities, and you're not respecting it. What kind of government allows local communities to stop onshore wind, but doesn't allow them to stop fracking in their backyards? It's frankly unacceptable, friends. I'm going to also invite other people to come forward if they want to talk and if they want to speak, but I will try and keep speaking if they don't. Thank you. And I might just have a cup of tea as well. So if you're watching on that, okay, so you're watching on the Facebook Live. So I should explain just for the Facebook Live that's going on at the moment. I'm sorry about the feedback. We are at Kirby Misperton. in North Yorkshire. We're outside the entrance to where Third Energy are doing exploratory fracking. We're worried that the Minister is about to announce soon the go-ahead for fracking in the UK. This is the front line against fracking. Everyone here knows that this is against the wishes of the local community, and it's bad for the climate, it's bad for the planet. Right now, and we've just had a message from Andrew Cooper, one of our councillors there, at the UN summit where they're discussing climate change. We've heard we lost the power. I haven't lost the power. Hold on, we're going to try and get the power back. We know that we're going to have to fight really, really hard to keep climate change, climate breakdown within a 1.5 degree increase. Okay, so I'll go get the power back. We know that we're going to have to fight, and we've just seen the huge devastation that climate change is causing with the hurricanes that have been happening in the Caribbean, in America. We know that for the first time, even the American authorities, apart from Donald Trump, have said, look, the time has come to admit very, very clearly that climate change is created by human beings, and it's happening now. We know that we've already had a 1 degree increase. We cannot afford for it to increase any more, because we know that already we've gone past, for some place in the world, a point of no return. We're about to see millions over the next few decades of climate refugees. If we think we've got a refugee crisis now, it is nothing compared to what we will see in the coming decades if we do not reverse what's going on. It is simply unacceptable to go and pursue another industry like fracking that is going to contribute to climate change. We should be showing leadership, and Theresa May, you need to show that leadership. I don't know how you're going to look your descendants, our descendants, in the face, because, you know, history is going to judge you incredibly harshly for what you are doing now. It is absolutely clear what's going on. The scientific consensus is absolutely clear, and going down this fracking route is entirely the wrong thing to do. So, sorry, we're being shoved. We're being shoved a little bit. So I try not to.
Jonathan, talk about air pollution.
Air pollution.
Jonathan,
I haven't spoken.
Nitrogen dioxide levels are higher than London right now.
So I'm told right now. Now I live in London, but I've been told right here that nitrogen dioxide levels are higher here than they are where I live in London. Now I've been out on the streets of Streatham, on the streets of Lambeth. I've done that citizen science, and I put up those diffusion tubes, and I measured the air pollution there, and I've seen how it is outside schools, outside my children's schools, damaging their lungs. It is breaching air pollution limits, and right here it is higher. NO2 limits are higher than they are where I live in London. And we know that 40,000 people already are dying prematurely every year right across the UK because of causes linked to air pollution. In London, it is 10,000. It isn't a silent killer, it is an epidemic. And it's something that we have to fight, and that's another aspect of fracking that we aren't told about. We aren't told about the consequences of air pollution, of the lorries that are coming in, of what's going on over there, of all the chemicals that are going in, the risks to the water supply as well, we aren't told about. It's dressed up as something that is risk-free. It is so far from it. We know from experience in America what fracking means for a local community and the risks that come with it, and the people here know those risks. And I want to say something else about this community. It is fantastic what's happening with the fracking movement, because people are coming together, people who naturally wouldn't necessarily hang out together, from all walks of life, from all different social backgrounds, coming together and realizing that they have a common cause, united around looking after their community, protecting the rights of their community. And I want to pay tribute to all those protectors, because they are protectors who are doing amazing work.
Thank you.
I can see.
Talk about our right to protest.
Our right to protest. Thank you. More suggestions about what you want me to talk about, gratefully received. I'll try and keep talking.
Did you have a nice breakfast?
I had a great breakfast, thank you. But let's talk about the right to protest, because the right to protest is being threatened. I've heard, you may have heard already, that our MP, Caroline Lucas, in the House of Commons, Jenny Jones, who is our peer who sits in the House of Lords, Sian Berry, who sits on the London Assembly, have all been subject to surveillance and have all been put on domestic extremist lists. And this is the ugly side of what is going on here. I've been talking to people just before I came to make this speech right here in Kirby Misperton, who are clearly being singled out, who are clearly under surveillance by the police. Excuse me, can you mind not pushing her, please, and not pushing me? Thank you.
Right, can you move from the roadway, please?
It is unacceptable that people's civil liberties should be infringed in those kinds of ways. And simply, we are not going to stand for it, and we need to push back against it. So for those who are doing Facebook Live, we're just been pushed around a little bit by the police here, it seems. Anyone else want me to talk about any other aspect? Okay, I'm going to...
Invite people down. Invite people to come.
Sorry?
Invite people to come.
Oh yeah, that's a great call. I would love to invite other people to come down to Kirby, come up, most of them, to Kirby Misperton in North Yorkshire. This is truly the front line in the fight against fracking. We need people to come and make their voices heard. We need people to be clear that they oppose what's going on, that they oppose what the government is doing, what the government is imposing on this community, what companies like Third Energy are doing. Third Energy, who we've already talked about. So the Facebook, yeah, do follow the Facebook Live. Just going to follow some of those people who are being taken away.
Come on here.
We do need people to come down and support.
Just here, that's fine. But you'll still be able to film on the hard standing, all right? Thank you very much. Everyone else is, so you'll be able to listen. All right.
Hello, followers of Jonathan Bartley on Facebook. So, we are being kettled over here at the Verge, and I'm going to go and see if we can show you everything where Jonathan was over here. And everyone who's watching, please share this, please tag people on Twitter, please let's get this out there. So this is the gateway.
In memory of all those who have fought for Britain, fought for our small island, fought for our environment, fought for a good quality of life. And I met a around here the other day, and he said, you know, I fought all the while that you're facing us, and now I'm fighting for my community here on the front line, but doing it non-violently, doing it peacefully, and I want to pay tribute to them. Yes. So there's a woman here saying her father started the first commandos with Lord Lovett, and so you know from your family's history what it means to be engaged in a struggle, and you know exactly. You know, we will talk about, you know, in the next few days, those who laid down their lives.
People who are watching, can you tell me if you can hear?
We will talk about, you know, and that must not be lip service, because
Please, folks.
So Jonathan was holding a full cup of tea when I left.
to the floor.
Jenny, give me a chair to stand on.
People will have seen that on Facebook, so I was going to sit down for a second. I'm going to try and continue to talk, I think, about, I was talking about
Here's you called and form. Here.
Can I help you up? Sir, you can back. You can use your legs, sir.
Dress left, dress left, dress left.
Okay, he's just being dragged off over there.
Forward.
Jonathan, thank you! Thank you, Jonathan! Thank you! Thank you for being with us. Stand up.
slow me down, that'd be great.
Somebody get me a battery pack for an iPhone.
We don't use you.
Okay, thank you, sir.
All right. So anyway, so if you're just joining us, we're at Kirby Misperton. I've been supporting those who are protesting on the front line of fracking. Yeah. I think so. Are we back on?
Yeah, working.
Sorry. Somehow the phone died, and I don't know if you caught. I was carried off with the other protesters. So what you will have seen is what's happening at Kirby Misperton. You would have got an insight into what's happening down here. So at the moment we were all cleared from in front of the gates because the police want to escort. I don't know what would it be?
Normally a lorry.
Yeah, a lorry. But what would it be in it? A convoy of I don't know, chemicals or equipment, or we're not quite sure.
Often not labelled. We have no idea really.
We have no idea what's in it. And so I was given a speech. And the police decided that they wanted to clear everyone during the speech. So I have to say, I found it quite hard to concentrate with everything that was going on around me, so I hope it didn't sound like a garble. But I was talking about the impact on the air pollution here. We were hearing the nitrogen dioxide rates are higher than they are in London. The potential threat to the water supply here, of course, the issues around climate change, the issues of civil liberties that are being raised here, and the fact that this is very much the front line in the fight against fracking. The community doesn't want it.
This is the truck coming up.
So should we show them what it looks like on a convoy?
So yeah, so here's the convoy coming in. So we were being cleared out of the way by police.
It's a tanker.
And that's a tanker.
So
non-hazardous. So maybe water or chemicals.
That's what we were all thrown to the ground.
Yeah.
So one single tanker and several police vehicles.
Yeah. So you can get an idea of what's going on down here. You can see police behind me. I guess police probably, is it fair to say police outnumber protesters by, I don't know, 2 to 1 maybe? Anyway, should we go on down here and see what's going on?
Yeah, we think someone was arrested.
Right, you can hop in the van now. We've finished with you. We don't need helping across the road anymore.
Someone's under arrest.
So someone's under arrest over there. I think. You can see the scale of the number of police here. I'm like, how many do you reckon? 60, 70 police? I don't know. I'm kind of guessing, but certainly 1, 2, 3, 4 vans, 3 or 4 police cars. I would say probably police outnumber protesters here. You can think about the huge cost of this, of course, cost of the taxpayer as well. We know that fracking is uneconomic, and it's a massive cost in order to get it going. So maybe see if we can get some pictures over there.
She's not a criminal, please.
So do we know who's being arrested?
Yes, we do. She's a really criminal. We don't want not to arrest. Right. Okay, I need some keys for a car so I can get my things out. I'll come with her. Please, please. She's not a criminal. You know she's not a criminal.
What's your name, man?
What's she been arrested for?
Lynn. What's the key here?
He's just asking for a car.
So I've got someone else holding the camera on Facebook Live. Just joining us. Jonathan Bartley. I'm doing a Facebook Live from Kirby Misperton. We've just been cleared from in front of the gates, and there's someone I think being arrested in the police van. I'm not quite sure who she is, but apparently she's well known here as someone who's been peacefully protesting against fracking and what's going on in the local community. They got people calling for de-arrest, urging the police to let her go. It's not clear. We've asked the police what she's been arrested for. We haven't been told what that is. One police man has told us that they don't know, and we can't get any further in to find out. So we'll let that go on. So if you're just joining us, my name is Jonathan Bartley. I'm co-leader of the Green Party. I'm down here supporting local community campaigners, others who have been protesting against the fracking, the exploratory fracking that's going on here in Kirby Misperton. You can see the gates there through which the lorries are coming, just over there. And so I was down here. This is the second visit that I've made. First visit I made was a few weeks ago. I gave a speech then, came to support people. People said please come back, and the protests have carried on, so I'm back here today. And while I was giving the speech, we were cleared from in front of the gate. I was carried by the police over there, dragged. They did spill my tea. Yeah, I was having a cup of tea while I was giving the speech, and a lot of other people. But I think for a lot of people here, this is a daily occurrence. This is something that's happening all the time. I've heard a lot of reports over the last few weeks of the way police have been treating protesters, and also the way people who are hired by Third Energy, the tax avoiding company that has its wealth kept in the Cayman Islands and its exploratory fracking here, has been also treating local people, and frankly it's shocking. I've written to Third Energy. I've asked them to give me access to the site so I can go in and see. After my last visit here, they wrote me a letter and said, we've been here in North Yorkshire for 20 years and there's never been any environmental issues at all. Well, I did a quick Google, and you do it yourself, you know, Google Third Energy, you'll find that actually they turned up here in 2011, not 20 years ago when they bought out another company. And what's been absolutely clear from people here is that there are real concerns about what's happening to the environment in terms of NO2, what potentially could be happening to the water, and the ongoing danger that it poses. And of course there's the massive impact on climate change. We've got to keep fossil fuels in the ground. And you know, I made an appeal to Greg Clark. He has the final sign-off on whether fracking would go ahead. I appeal to him not to do it. I've invited Michael Gove to come down here. Unsurprisingly, perhaps, he said no. You know, that's as far as the environmental credentials of the Environment Secretary go. Apparently, he seems to be fully in support of fracking. That's an oxymoron, if ever there was one. So, I'll turn the camera around. I can maybe talk to a few people. Why don't we talk to a few people? You were. I was giving a speech, and I was trying to talk, and this man was giving me ideas about what to talk about.
But you did a great job. Thank you, and thank you for being here.
What's
and
your
showing
name?
Derek Chapman.
Derek.
Thank you for showing what people endure every day. I'd like to draw your attention to a lady now being taken away and thrown to the mercy of the courts for causing a temporary obstruction. The disproportionate nature of the way the law is applied is of great concern. If there was any reasonable obstruction caused, or unreasonable obstruction caused, of course there'd be a case like that. But why now? She's taken away from this forum, probably bailed away from here. It's a great concern. I mean, how would you recommend we engage with the police when they have such a strong mandate to push us into the courts, and to basically do anything to make this an uncomfortable place to be, with a threat of arrest if you engage in reasonable process?
Yeah. I mean, it was for me, it was quite revealing to experience what you and others are experiencing on a day-to-day basis here. You know, being forcibly dragged. You know, my shoes won't ever recover. But you know, that's nothing. But you know, just to experience what it's like actually to peacefully protest, to stand up for what you believe in. We'll be told to get in a little bit together so you can see what's going on. You know, to stand up for what you believe in and your principles, but to be forcibly removed by those people that actually should be protecting the community.
Well, as a council, we've had such a good relationship with the police here, generally. Even when the camp first arrived, there was joviality and good nature, but now we've moved into operations, all that goodwill is just draining away day by day. We try and negotiate, and we get nothing. I mean, only your presence here today helped us to get more than we usually would. I mean, and thank you for that. But, you know, we're trying to negotiate. We're trying to be reasonable. And we're painted as well, you see the media, what people, good people are painted as.
Can I just ask something?
Sure.
Can I just ask, people from the camp, was John's visit advertised, and would the police and the company been aware of what time he would have been talking in front of the gate?
No.
So they weren't aware that you were coming to the area?
Well, there was a press notification that went out last night saying approximately what time I'd be here under embargo. That was from the Green Party.
Party members?
Yeah, the Green Party members, but also
to the press.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
So therefore they would have been aware that and they could have rescheduled. They could have chosen to reschedule, because they often hold incoming trucks in lay-by. So do you believe there was an option that they could have rescheduled your bringing?
Go for it.
May I answer that?
You know more about it than I do.
I negotiate with the police. When I first come into the forum, I always ask what is possible. I always respectfully engage. I actually made the Red aware that Jonathan Bartley was here and would like some time to speak.
I'm only actually here for an hour today, sadly.
So, and within that negotiation, it was refused. It was only when we stood strong together that we got some time. You know, asking for that time respectfully, Silver Commander declined. You know, and that's what we try. We try to engage, and we are constantly refused. So therefore, the only choice is to stand our ground. And I'll say again, thank you for standing on our ground with us. But we try. We do try.
Appalling that Silver Commander.
So yeah, no, I unfortunately I did this 2.5 hour train journey up from London, and then I've got to get back with childcare commitments. I was quite grateful I wasn't arrested then, because that would have been a real problem with childcare. Yeah, so I literally am only here for an hour just to come up and show my support today. And actually, I said, you know, people need to stick around after I've gone. and I will certainly be back again very, very soon. So thank you for having me.
Colleagues are coming back.
Yeah, so we're doing, yeah, so that's an important thing to say. So we're doing Green Fridays. So,
All the way through now.
so I think Natalie is coming next
Next
Friday,
week.
and then Amelia Womack is coming
On the
after
1st.
that. Yeah. And then we're doing Green Mondays over at Preston New Road as well.
And
So
this is
yeah.
fantastic. The Green Party are truly putting something out about basically supporting us who are trying to protect our environment.
And on
You don't mind.
And so the importance of Green Fridays and all the days is it brings the numbers here, and we need numbers here. We have numbers against us, we need numbers with us.
So if do come,
going the other way.
Do come down and support. I'm going to be here quite a bit, as well as at Preston New Road. People, it's such a lovely atmosphere here. There's some great people here who passionately believe in what they're doing. And if you can spare some time, wherever you are in the country, if I can come up from London to this, you can come if you're closer by Birmingham or Manchester, wherever you are. And it's really, I think it's really worth the experience. Okay, I've been told that I have to go. It is an amazing experience, and you know what? It's going to be great to be able to share this stuff with my kids. When my kids say, "Dad, where were you today?" So I'm going to be with my kids this weekend, and they say, "What did you do on Friday?" Well, I was at Kirby Misperton, and I can talk to them about why this is important, and encourage them to think about the issues of climate change, the issues of local community democracy, air pollution, all the dangers that we face. And it's a wonderful thing to discuss with friends and family, just to come and have a glimpse, so you can actually speak authentically about what's going on and tell people about it. And it's about creating that word of mouth. Talking to one another, winning, the argument, person by person, community by community. That's going to make, sure we win this battle. And I will say that the more people see fracking, the more they dislike it, and the more they realise what a danger this poses to local communities and to the world.
What do you think of our part of the world? Isn't it worth protecting?
Look at that! Isn't that beautiful?
Isn't that the point?
Yeah.
Not that gentleman there, as
No.
beautiful as you are. This is why we have to get up every morning.
Yeah.
Even when we don't feel like it, and we have to protect this.
Yeah.
So please come and help us.
Right, anyway, I'm going to have to run for a train, but thank you very much. I know that was a bit chaotic, but I wasn't expecting that to happen, but I felt I needed to get the speech out. Anyway, thank you very much, everyone.